Hello guys, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about my top 5 draft prospects, and then we'll narrow it down to 3 in the next one. If you have not seen the top 10 one, go watch that one first, because that'll give you some context to some of the players that I eliminate. So we'll just go through that. I got the draft day from 2019 hat on. That was where we drafted Aaron Holiday. That was a good draft. Aaron Holiday, beast. But let's get into the video. So, if you don't want to go back and watch the first video, I'll just read off the list of guys that I had before. Ranked from most liked to least like. And just saying that it's just because I'm choosing the top 5 doesn't mean everyone from 6 and below is eliminated. Jordan Nwora, Caleb Wesson, Josh Hall, Nate Hinton, Elijah Hughes, Omer Yurtseven, Vernon Carey Jr., Austin Wiley, Marcus Howard, and Skylar Mays. Now, the 5 that are eliminated are Jordan Nwora, Josh Hall, Elijah Hughes, Omer Yurtseven, Austin Wiley, and Skylar Mays. Now, you may be wondering why I eliminated Jordan Nwora. That is because he's probably going to get taken way too soon. He's probably going to get taken by the Warriors or the Hawks, I believe, have the pick either before or after them. He's going to get taken before the 54th pick. I don't necessarily like that, but that gives us an opportunity to maybe take a risk on a guy or just take someone that might be better. You never know. So now I'm going to go through some of the guys that I have, and then I'll list my top 5 from most liked to least like. So Caleb Wesson, you guys already know him, especially if you watched the last one. I'm not going to read off what these guys are good at. I'm going to show the basic stats from ESPN. And if you want a more in-depth look at each of these players, go look at the top 10 video. So Caleb Wesson, I'll read off like what they are and stuff. A 6'9" small forward. Marcus Howard, a 5'11" point guard. He is here. Well, actually, I do need to say why these guys each made it. So Caleb Wesson made it because we might need somebody at the wing position. We might need a small forward, especially someone who can defend the perimeter. So he can do that. Marcus Howard. I have a I don't know why. I have a soft spot for short point guards who can shoot threes and are tenacious. Probably because Carson Edwards went to Purdue, and I watched him, and I just really enjoyed it. Probably because I also enjoy watching Aaron Holiday. I enjoyed watching Isaiah Thomas. The now Isaiah Thomas, not back in the 80s. I wasn't alive then. But I just have a soft spot for that, and I know the Pacers don't need that. But 27 points per game. The man scored 27 points per game. Show the stat. 27 points per game. Do I gotta say one more? 27 points per game. That's hard to pass up. That's really hard to pass up on. And with small ball, you could shift Marcus Howard over to shooting guard. That's what the Celtics did with Carson Edwards, who's also 5'11". You can still be shorter and go over to shooting guard, especially if you don't really distribute the ball, because you're already shooting at point guard. You're already shooting off of guys who are way taller. So just move him over to shooting guard, and it's about the same height of guys guarding him. So he could go to shooting guard. You never know. Then we have Nate Hinton, a 6'5" shooting guard. Made it purely because of his rebounding abilities. The man is a tenacious rebounder for a 6'5" shooting guard. Really, just for anybody. He rebounds more tenaciously than some centers, which is pretty shocking in a shooting guard. Normally those guys want to go for highlight plays, three-pointers, dunks, blocks, perimeter blocks more than in the paint blocks. Steals, that type of stuff that you usually don't specialize in rebounding. But you kind of need that at that position because you never know where some guys are going to be. I mean, TJ McConnell, he grabs a shocking amount of rebounds for a guy who's 6 foot and a point guard. And a guy who can't really jump that high. And then we have the new addition, Jaden Scrubb. I read an 8 points, 9 seconds article on him. He went to a JUCO. Show his stats. 20 points per game, and I can't remember off the top of my 8.9 rebounds. I hope it's 8.9. It's either 9.8 or 8.9 rebounds a game. Either of those is, again, good for a shooting guard, and this guy might have a higher chance of rebounding those, of retaining those abilities in the NBA, considering he's a bit taller at 6'6", and he can play small forward. So he kind of has that never give up type attitude, you know, which for the team culture the Pacers have, that kind of fits it. You know, we took guys like Domantas Sabonis, Victor Oladipo, Reggie Miller, Paul George, turned them into all-stars. They were picked. Well, Oladipo wasn't. They were either picked later in the draft, or they were counted out, or nobody knew who the heck they were. And we developed them and made them into all-stars, and they kind of all had that never give up attribute, except for, well, Paul George kind of lost it. He kind of got an inflated ego once he became an all-star, but more at the beginning of his career, he had that never give up attitude, and then he just didn't become a leader and wanted to be a leader who he wanted to be someone who wasn't a leader but wanted all the money and all the shots. I'm done with the Paul George rant. Let's get in the rest of this. And then we have Vernon Carey Jr., a 6'10 center. Probably will transition to power forward because he's 6'10. But there are some Al Jefferson, 6'10 center. But Al Jefferson was significantly, you know, larger in the weight category than Vernon Carey Jr. But he is younger, so he can still fill out his frame. You just got to see how some of these guys develop. It's kind of like a hockey defenseman, you know? When they enter the league, they're taller, but they're a bit thinner, or they're shorter and they're a bit thinner. But then, you know, they fill into their frame as their career progresses. I know that's a different sport, but... So here we have my top 5 from most liked to least liked. Again, just because there are 2 people in the bottom 2, don't count those 2 out, because they might make the top 3. You never know. Okay? So just don't. You probably didn't think a new player would get added either. You don't know what to expect from my draft board, is what I'm saying. So from greatest to least like, Jaden Scrub, Caleb Wesson, Marcus Howard, Vernon Carey Jr., and Nate Hinton. Really, it's just I need to look at these, and I need to see what some of these guys specialize in, and the Pacers team needs, you know? Because Vernon Carey, I could see him making an impact, considering we only have 2 centers on the roster. But Caleb Wesson, I could see making an impact. I believe he's a small forward, correct? Right? Yes, he is a small forward. I can see him making impact, because he can perimeter defend. Jaden Scrub, I see him making impact, because he's just freaking, he goes for everything. You know, we have a lot of guys who are a spark off the bench player. He could be one of those guys. Marcus Howard, another spark off the bench. I could see him making impact. Nate Hinton, I can see all these guys making an impact if they get playing time. It's a tough decision to make. So if I eliminate someone, it doesn't mean that I don't like it if the Pacers pick them, because it is very close. It is very close. And somebody's stats might not reflect how good they are. That's why I watched some highlights. It's very close between all these players. Very close. It's a tough decision. So don't be like, you know, this player gets drafted and then he becomes an all-star or something, and then I took him off my top 5, and you come back to this and say, you hate that player. You originally said the Pacers shouldn't even draft him. That's not what I'm saying. I just want that on the record, because I know people will dig back, you know, deep back and try and find dirt on you. Just a disclaimer. Just trying to cover myself here. I will see you guys in the next video, and it's a tough decision. I'll see you guys in the next video.